Hello friends and felines, and welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're venturing onto my channel for the first time today. If you love makeup and you're obsessed with cats, then this is the channel for you. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you're notified when I post more videos. So for today's video, I thought I would go through my makeup collection and do a full face of makeup using the oldest products I have. So hopefully my face won't have a negative reaction to any of the products I'm using today, and we can make a decent look. So if you would like to see some of the oldest relics in my makeup collection, then definitely keep on watching. So to begin, some of this makeup predates before I was even into makeup. A lot of this stuff is drugstore or from Avon, and a lot of these products I didn't even use when I was first doing makeup. Like I didn't prime. I don't think I used concealer. I may have color corrected because I thought that's what you're supposed to do, but you really don't need a color correct. I didn't really wear blush because I thought my cheeks were red already. I didn't really bronze. I had like a cream contour, but I didn't really bronze. I never wore lashes. So yeah, we're just gonna go through some of my older products. Don't quote me on any of this, whether it is the oldest product, but I definitely know it's one of the older ones. So to start off with primer, which again, I didn't use back in the day, like in high school or whatever. I mean, I never wore makeup anyways. I was a 3-season athlete. So if I wore makeup, it was for a special occasion. So I do know that this is one of my oldest that I never used because I don't think it really works. And I also bought all matte products because I didn't know my skin type. I didn't know my skin concerns. And I was like, oh, well, matte is good because it makes everything look flawless. But I didn't know if your skin was super dry, matte may not be the best finish for you. So this is the Rimmel Stay Matte Mattifying Makeup Primer. So again, I don't know the last time I used this. It says it has a expiration of 18 months, and I definitely think it is over that 18-month period since I've had this, but we're gonna go in with this anyways. I just remember this it's like very, very thick, like lotion feel. I don't remember how this performs because again, I think I only used this a couple of times. It definitely smells like drugstore makeup. You know, sometimes drugstore makeup smells like paint or paint thinner or chemicals. So yeah, that's off to a good start. So now we are nice and primed. My skin feels a little tacky. I don't know if there's any real blurring or anything. Like I said, I don't think that Rimmel primer does much. But I know back in the day, I used to use a lot of Avon products. My mom had someone that she would buy from, so she would do like a bunch of big orders, and that's where we got a lot of our products from. I don't have a lot of those products still, but I know I used to always go in with the Ideal Flawless Invisible Coverage Cream to Powder Foundation. I don't have the lighter shade that I would normally use. I would have a lighter shade that I would put like in my highlight areas, and then a darker shade that I would use for my contour. And then I would go in with a like powder foundation. So I'm out of my light shade. So the next best thing that I would always use was the Maybelline Fit Me. I used to use the matte and poreless finish, but now I use the dewy and smooth because I know I have dry skin. So it's close enough to what I used to use. I also now have more of the correct shade. This is 125 Nude Beige. Back then, I wanted to believe I was more tan than I actually was, which made my makeup seem really, really bad. But now I realize that I am pasty white and I need to go in with a more shade that is better for my skin tone, and then I'm not as tan as I think I am. So at least I have learned over the years. Whether I know what I'm doing now is still another story, but again, I'm just an average consumer, not a professional, haven't taken any classes, so I just go in with what I know. So this isn't the oldest foundation, obviously. I have switched from the matte and poreless to the dewy and smooth, and this is obviously a repurchase because I honestly love this drugstore foundation. I think the L'Oreal 24-Hour Fresh Wear outdoes this one, but I still use this one on occasion. Just depends on the day. So also back in the day, I feel like I'm like a 50-year-old woman saying like back in the day, I didn't use a sponge or a brush or anything to apply my makeup with. I went in with my fingers. I did a lot of my makeup with my fingers or with whatever brush or powder puff or compact that came with that makeup item. I didn't really have brushes or sponges or anything. And I feel like this is like crazy, like how far I've come just thinking about it and the short amount of time that I've actually been doing makeup. It's kind of impressive. So next, before I go in with any kind of powder, I'm going to be doing my cream contour that I did back then. I used to have an Avon brush that was just a flat, like cat paw type foundation brush. I threw that one away because I eventually got it replaced with a Luxie brush. So this is the 510 foundation brush. And then going in with Avon, the Ideal Flawless Cream to Powder Foundation. This is the shade Light Caramel, and this is the shade that I would use for contouring. And sometimes I even used this little like foam powder puff type thing in there. And again, I'm kind of running low on this one. Like I've hit pan on this. This is probably one of the few products I've ever hit pan on because this is all I used back in the day. So I would literally just put this on and contour with it. And again, I don't even remember what I did for contour back then, but like this shade doesn't match either. So sometimes I would put this on over and other times I would put it on underneath my foundation. Just depends on the day. Got all my little like sideburn hairs in the way. Yeah, like this shade just doesn't have the right undertones for me at all. I don't know why this stuff is called cream to powder foundation because I feel like it's just a cream. Like it doesn't have any type of powder consistency. So yeah, I would just dot that in the random spots that I thought was appropriate for contouring, and then I would eventually buff it in. I don't think I used a sponge. I don't even know what I used, to be honest. I think I used like a kabuki brush or something. Who knows? I'm not doing everything exactly like I did back in the day, but kind of generally what I would do. I mean, obviously, like back then I went in with just my fingers and I'm not going to be doing that right now. So back then I didn't really blend a lot. So I really had a lot of harsh lines. So that's what I'm kind of emanating today. I also didn't conceal. So I don't think I'm going to do that today. And for powder, I didn't even use a setting powder. I just used a foundation powder. So I would just take a kabuki brush, which I think was from Avon. Mine broke, but it still works. And I would use the Maybelline Fit Me powder. Again, I still use this because I love this. I love the other loose powder one. This is the matte and poreless like compact powder. And I rebought this because I had it again in a shade that was too dark for me. So now I went with shade 120 Classic Ivory. And I would use this and I would just tap this in, and I kind of use this as like setting powder. It would make everything seem like smooth. And I would use this to kind of cover up whatever contour it was to make it less harsh. So I use this to cover up my mistakes instead of actually fixing them or blending them in the first place, because that's what I did back then. And to be honest, like if I did makeup, it probably would take me like 20 minutes max. Definitely a lot faster than what I do now. I mean, I still use this. I don't use it as much. I do like it as a setting powder. Like I like using this with a, like if I use a dewy foundation and then I put the matte powder on top, because then I don't think it's like too matte for me and too drying, but it still like evens out my skin tone. Much of the case as is now, back as it was back then, is that I just used makeup and foundation and stuff to cover up just how red my cheeks were. That was just my biggest insecurity and still is now, but the amount of times I've had people make comments about my red cheeks is just insane. So like I said, a lot of my makeup was to cover up the redness on my cheeks, so I thought, what was the point of putting blush on if I was trying to cover up the redness of my cheeks anyways? And the longest time I did not use any blush. Now I use blush because it does bring back some of the life into my skin and it's a lot more smoother and looks like blush instead of like the patchy redness of my cheeks. But back then I didn't use bronzer, I didn't use blush, and I really didn't use highlighter. But I had this thing by Mark. It's called the Glowdacious Illuminating Powder. And I can't believe I still have this, but It's got like, it's all shimmery and it's got like a highlight in the center, then like a pink tone and like a bronze tone. And I would just use this. And again, I would just use the little brush that came with it. And I would just mix this around and just put this on the higher parts of my cheek. Sometimes I would go more in the center to give it a little bit more of that glow. And this is like super pretty. I don't know where I got this from or what this brand is, or even if it still exists, but I know I've had this for the longest time. I don't know if I got this through Avon, but I don't know. But it gives you a cute little like golden glow, but it does have like that bronze and like pink colors in it too. So it's a very confusing little palette. So it's like you can't get those outer parts, you know, you kind of just like mix it all together. So back then I also didn't do my brows, but I'm going to be doing them today. I didn't have them waxed, shaped, anything. I just had these crazy thick brows, much of kind of what I have right now, but worse. My brows have been through a lot. I could throw up some really ugly brows through the years pictures, but I don't want to torture you guys with those. So I did get my brows waxed once my junior year of high school, and she overwaxed them and they looked horrible, and it looked like I didn't have any brows at all because I didn't shape them and I didn't fill them in, and they looked really, really bad. So I'm very protective of my brows. The person I go to now for my hair and stuff, she does a really good job. Unfortunately, last time I got my hair done, she wasn't able to do brow waxing because of the code and everything. So I think the oldest product that I have, I probably got in some box like forever ago, and this is by Nomad. This is just a multi-perfection brow powder. It's kind of like a little cheap version of the Anastasia powder, but we're just gonna go in with this. Even though I didn't do my brows back then, I'm just gonna fill them in really quick and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back and the brows are whatever. I do remember though, I also had really, really old Avon brow pencils, just like kohl pencils that were like, they're like this big now for how much they've been used. I did find a couple in there, but I already did my brows, so we're just gonna move on. So I didn't prime my eyes for eyeshadow, but the oldest thing I do have is from Ulta Beauty, a tinted eye primer in satin blush. I remember when I did, you know, starting to show more interest in makeup, my mom got me this cute little pink cheap makeup kit, and it was all Ulta brand, and that's when I realized that the Ulta brand actually sucks. I think it's good for beginner makeup, which was really nice that she got that for me, but I pretty much ended up throwing away a lot of that makeup because it was really bad. So for the eyeshadows I'm going into, this actually works because it has a pink tint to it. And so I do know for a fact that this is the oldest eyeshadow palette I have, and it's kind of embarrassing, but it's the Blushed Nudes by Maybelline New York. That's what it looks like. So obviously it's been used, just not in a very, very, very long time. So on the back it actually has like kind of instructions to give if you honestly have no idea what you're doing with makeup, which is probably why you bought this palette to begin with. But it says you can either do it in like duos of just like 2 colors at a time right next to each other. You could do trios and it tells you like where to place the shadow, or you could do it in quads. And again, it shows you like where to place the eyeshadow if you have no idea what you're doing. So I'm gonna prime my eyes really quick and zoom you guys in, and we're gonna get started on this eyeshadow look. All right, so if you look at my eyes, you can pretty much tell that isn't an eye primer. It is pretty much like a cream liquid eyeshadow on your eyes. And I don't ever recall if I've ever used that primer before in my life, or maybe I have once if I knew I was doing pink eyeshadow. So I don't really know why Ulta think they can call that a primer, because it's pretty much eyeshadow. It has pigment to it, and it's really cute if you wanted to just, you know, tap some on really quick and go out with your day. But as a primer, I don't know. I don't know how the shadows are going to apply to it, but we're going to go with it. So this doesn't have any shade names in it, and everything in here is pretty much some sort of shimmer or glitter eyeshadow. So I think I'm going to first go in with this darker shade right here, and I'm going to kind of put this all throughout the crease. So since these all are kind of like shimmers, and they're kind of like sheer. Wow, that's a lot darker than I thought it was going to be. It's interesting to see what it's going to look like when it's on top of this eye primer. This whole eye look could turn out to be disastrous, but we'll see. I'm pretty sure, like, if I put eyeshadow on back in the day, I literally just used one color, maybe two. Obviously didn't do any cut creases. I didn't even put any on my lower lash line. I didn't do a brow bone highlight or an inner corner highlight. I kept it real simple. So yeah, trying to put this on top of that primer really isn't working. I wasn't gonna put this throughout the entire crease, but I think I'm just gonna keep this on like the outer portion. So I'm gonna use the same brush. I just wiped it off a little bit. Now I'm gonna go into the shade right up here, and I'm gonna kind of put that on the inner portion of my crease. I think back then for like applying eyeshadow, I'm pretty sure I used whatever brush or applicator, like whether it's one of those little foam tip applicators that came with that palette. And then I would use one side and then the other, and then they usually were like double-ended, so I'd flip over to the other side. And yeah, that's pretty much what I used. It's just crazy to see how far makeup has come since like my mom, since me as a kid to like now. Because I mean, there's kids that are like, you know, 5, 6 years old that are like better at makeup than anyone I've seen. And it's just kind of astounding. And especially because like YouTube, you know, when I was little, YouTube wasn't much of a popular thing. It was mostly like MySpace and stuff. But now there's just so many makeup videos out there that people can just hop online and learn how to do anything, which is cool, but I think also has its downfalls. So I feel like we've got ourselves a little dark, smoky, pink eye look going on. Oh, we're just gonna run with it. So next I'm gonna go in with the shade right here. It is a pretty metallic color, and I'm just gonna put this all over like the rest of the lid. It's like a very pretty rose gold shade. I just can't believe how old this palette is. And like all of these are shimmers. There isn't a single matte in here. More of them are like more metallic or more shimmery than others, but they're all pretty much some sort of shimmer or have some sort of glitter in them. So like I said, I normally wouldn't do any type of brow bone or inner corner highlight or lower lash line. But I'm not really following exactly what I did back then, so we're just gonna keep moving forward. For the inner corner and brow bone highlight, I'm gonna go in with this shade right here, which is a nice lighter shimmery color. It'd be interesting to see how these shadows would have applied without already having like a pink tinted primer base, because I think it's affecting the color and like how they apply, but they're still applying like pretty nicely. So for the lower lash line, I'm just gonna go in with the most matte shade that there is in this palette, which is this little mauve lavender shade up here. I tried swatching it, but there's not much pigment payoff, so let's see what we can do. I just want to put this really close to the lash line and just keep it really simple, since I really didn't do much of a lash line back then. So yeah, that is one eye complete. I'm gonna go do the same thing on the other eye and be right back. All right, so that is both eyes all complete. Back then, I think the only eyeliner I actually owned was like a coal black pencil eyeliner. I don't have any specific ones, but I do have this one that I got. It's vintage by Jessica Liebskind. It's a smoky eye pencil. I never really did eyeliner back then because the only eyeliners that we had were pencils, which were ones that my mom had, and so I never could get them to work. I think the very first time I ever did eyeliner was like a liquid eyeliner my freshman year of college, and I was like the happiest person alive that I did it and it looked decent. So normally I don't go in with like a pencil unless I don't really have eyeshadow on my eyes, like if I just want to put an eyeliner on or do like a little smoky lash line. So I'm not going to worry about eyeliner today. Mascara, I don't remember what I used to use back then. I probably used something that my mom had like from Avon, but I don't have anything from like what I used back then. So currently the oldest mascara that is in my collection is the L'Oreal Waterproof Voluminous Carbon Black. This is an amazing mascara, but I think mine is a little old and it's a little clumpy. Well, maybe it's not that bad. I've repurchased this over the years. I do like this one, but it tends to get clumpy like pretty fast. So I'm gonna go in with this. And like I said, I definitely did not put on any false lashes back in the day, but we're going to today. And I think this is the very first pair of lashes I ever got in Ipsy, or maybe a BoxyCharm when I was like first subscribed. And this is by Lashaholic Luxury Lashes in the style Instagram. I haven't used them often, but I have used them before. So I'm just gonna apply these really quick and I'll be right back. So I've come across a little bit of a predicament. I got some eyeshadow in this eye while I was doing my lower lash line. And normally I get a little bit of eyeshadow on my eyes. It's not a big deal, but it has gotten significantly red. And I went and tried to put eye drops in to make it go away. And it's really, I mean, it's better than it was, but it's really not going away. So in due response of my eye being red and praying I don't get an eye infection, I decided not to put false lashes on right now. But this is what my eyes look like with just the L'Oreal Voluminous Carbon Black mascara on. And again, other than my lashes keeping a curl, I really do like this mascara. Alright, so we are pretty much almost done with this makeup look. The last thing is lips, to be honest. And I have some of my oldest products in front of me. I actually have two lip liners that I had from Avon right here. One was in neutral and one was in rosebud. So I also have two Avon lipsticks. One is in Sparkling Nude and the other one is in Perfectly Pink. And then when I went to college, I started buying a bunch of cheap drugstore makeup. So I went and I got a bunch of Maybelline. Yes, a bunch of these Maybelline lipsticks. I have the shades Blissful Berry, Magnificent Mauve, Red Revival, and Pink Wink. These were looking a little rough the last time I used them. They have like oxidized and they have like those weird bubbles in them, but they still work. It's just like oxygen bubbling inside of them. I mean, I probably shouldn't be using them on my lips, but. And then I also got these Maybelline Color Blur Lip Studio. They're like a cream matte pencil. So you just, it's got like a hair on there. Ignore that. It's like a pencil, and on the other side, I have like a Are you kidding me? It literally just fell. What? I didn't even know that was broken. Okay, well, I think I can officially throw that one away. But that was in the shade I like to mauve it. And then I also had a red and like a burgundy shade. And then a little bit newer, but still pretty old. These were the first liquid lips I had bought, and they were by NYX, and it was the Soft Matte Lip Creams. I think these were like super drying though, but back in the day, I just used lipsticks, which I wasn't really allowed to wear lipsticks in high school. I could wear chapstick if I wanted to, and definitely not a red. Ooh, I also have this L'Oreal one, which is in the shade Sandstone, which is one I've used like a bunch. And it's pretty much like a sheer pink. So I think I'm just going to go in with this one. I'm not going to worry about the lip liners. I barely used them back then, and I barely use them now. So, like for a lipstick, this is pretty sheer, but it's super creamy. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That is the lip. It doesn't have much coverage to it, but it's super creamy. If you put like a lip liner on and then filled it in with this, it might look a little bit cuter, but I definitely didn't do that back in the day. So I'm gonna do the necessary montage. Don't worry, I'm not gonna do anything super up close because of my eye. And yeah, we'll wrap this video up. Pretty much wraps up this video using all of the oldest products I have in my makeup collection, taking a little trip down memory lane to what I used to do for makeup back in the day when I wore makeup. But I hope you guys liked today's video. What is the oldest products in your makeup collection? I would definitely like to know. Were you one of those like Maybelline people, Avon, you know, one of those multi-level marketing schemes? Let me know in the comments. And if you like the video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you're notified when I decide to post a video. I've definitely been doing a lot better on a weekly basis. But if you guys subscribe to my channel, I welcome you to my feline family. Bye! And just hopefully this makeup look will turn out okay.